against that filling station. Are you aware? Yeah, I paid a lawyer $10,000 to file a lawsuit against them for coming next door to our church. My problem was that after giving the money to the attorney, because it was coming next door to the church, sad to say, we had to withdraw because I didn't get any other support from other people. Now, several of you came up, Reverend Fleming, why you didn't continue to fight that? I said, I'm not getting out here by myself, getting my head cut off. Amen? Where are the rest of the people, the churches that want to donate? You got to have an attorney. And I had hired an attorney. He said, we can win, Reverend. But nobody else, when I was asking others to come forward, got $5,000, $2,500 so we can fight this case. And after that, I withdrew, and the lawyer wouldn't give me but $5 of it back. So he filed a lawsuit. I withdrew. I didn't want to go on record that I sued the city. I didn't want that on my record, especially by myself. So I lost $5,000, but I gave him $10,000. Ms. Overstreet said she's gonna fight it, that they don't have liquor license. So that's the commitment from her. How well she's gonna do that, I don't know. Either way we go. But my biggest concern with NPU, I've been told, a couple of people came to me, what are they finna put over here across the street? And they've torn down all that junk over there where they were working on cars, and they blame me. They blame me for everything happening on Campbell Road. And I ain't had nothing to do with it. So I get blamed for everything happened when somebody get in trouble. That old preacher down there. And I don't even have nothing to do with it. But if you're not careful, the NPU told me they don't know what they're building over there. They have bypassed NPU what kind of apartments they finna build from there all the way down. And I'm sad, and the community got to get with NPU. Why did they come through NPU to get the permits? So we want to hear your question, because I need about 10 more of you all to act like Senator Falk.
Piggyback on what Senator Ford said. The License Review Board meeting that was held February the 6th, there were about maybe 8 NPU residents down there. And all of us had a public opinion about that gas station. And the bottom line was that we did not want it in the first place. Just like you said, Reverend Fleming, because I remember when we were protesting that place before they even built it. Now, there was this owner had his lawyer up there, as Ms. Harden said. She was just commenting on how beautiful the building looked. Some of the residents from NPU who were down there that night want to also know, what are you going to do with the rest of the building, Mr. Owner? You got all of this long, nice-looking building. What are you going to do with the other spaces? That issue came up too, residents. We need to find out, what is he going to do with the other space? What kind of businesses is he going to put there? He wasn't even able to comment on that. We don't even know. So the License Review Board did not permit him to get that license to sell those alcoholic drinks. There is going to be another meeting. We don't know. But I want NPU coordinator to stay on that, because they were supposed to be there to make a report, and nobody was appointed from NPU to be down there that night to make a report from NPU. It was just the public comment residents, that's all. Right. But I wish that the NPU coordinator would be there the next time in the event that they ask for you to come up and do a report. And then we can go from there, community. We have to stay together. We have to build up our NPU.
Got
Organization does need to be built up some more in comparison to the way it used to be long time ago before COVID. It's not like that anymore. Not in my view, it isn't. I want to see us get better. Let's bring in all of the generations that live in NPU aura. Don't throw out the baby boomers. We need to see all of them. We need to get the Gen Zs and get them involved in this NPU so we can build up our neighborhood. And I'm real concerned about the Campbellton Road street. I'm sure that if you drive down Campbellton Road, you got to see how bumpy it is. Potholes, ridges, neighborhood. We need to request that the transportation department come out here and fix this road because it is a major street. And it's bad.
And you know what? Somebody told me, now you all can ask, pull my attention to it. There's $5 million already down somewhere in City Hall for Campbellton Road. We don't know what it's for. We need to investigate, and that's the best thing NPU can find out. What are they holding that for? $5 million. And that could have been, I see they have paid some of Cascade over there. But
Oh,
no
yes.
paving has been done on Campbellton Road. And that money is for Campbellton Road. The key thing, I think, if I'm correct, help me out, is NPU. So are they fussing out there like they used to? I hope not. Because that's what ran everybody away. Amen. Amen. But people do fuss at the NPU. But you got to be there and miss that fussing. Because if they see you don't come, the city won't do nothing. Because they recognize, not this meeting, NPU. They've already told me why you probably don't see some of them tonight. So when you get ready to vote next year, you'll know that I'm not a politician. And I can't call a town hall meeting. So that's why I changed the name, Community Restoration Meeting. So as a leader in the community, I can call anybody I want together. So we came together and called it that. So when they don't want to have, I guess, a town hall meeting. But that tells the story. So if the NPU was recognized by the law, I did put up $10,000. I did. So where we are with that, I have no idea. But I'm worried about putting any kind of ghetto stuff up again. We have enough junk apartments. Put some high grade up there next door and give us something nice in the community, or you're going to attract a lot of more trash. If we don't start letting the NPU stay. It's supposed to go through NPU, right, before they do anything and get the NPU approval. If they bypass an NPU and coming up buying things and to put anything in your neighborhood, you can't say nothing when it goes up. Am I right, Senator? Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, I want to say one more thing,
Yes,
and that was another issue about the distance between the gas station and another business that sells alcohol. That was an issue. And the lawyer of this particular owner said that, they hired their own surveyor. The city of Atlanta didn't do the surveying. So the residents who were there that night, they were concerned about that. We need the city of Atlanta to send a surveyor to measure the distance between that gas station and the next business that sell alcohol. And it would be that little store right down here on the corner of Dotson and Campbellton Road. That's the next one. And that's the way it appears. So that was an issue, too, that was not cleared up, Reverend Fleming. So
Ms. Overstreet assured me, I don't know if she told you at any of her meetings, she wasn't going to give them permission to have liquor license. And she's over that.
okay. Well, I just had to piggyback on what Mr. Ford said that night, because the neighborhood was down there. Bye.
All right, Senator Ford clears up right quick.
The distance requirement is 1,500 feet. The applicant measured it, it just so happened that it was 1,500 had 22 feet. He might have stretched the yardstick, Pastor. But the city is going to do their own measurement. Now, it's my understanding, because I've been going to the License Review Board since they was meeting on Decatur Street. You know how long that's been. Down in the old police station, dark and dank police station. It is my understanding that the License Review Board makes their decision and it goes directly to the mayor.
Right.
And I'm reassured by what you just said, Pastor, that you know, because the council member has stated frequently that she is against the beer and wine license. So I'm glad to hear you restate that.
Yes.
But
Our council person. is what
I've seen things, you know, one of the things that we don't need on Hamilton Road is what? Another beer and wine or liquor store. I lost count going from County Line to Lee Street.
And
I
this is
lost,
24 hours. I'm
and I got 2 degrees. It was just so many I couldn't count them fast enough. So, and then there's a nightclub that wants to come in down here on Capitol Plaza. That's an issue for another day. Right next door to what? Another nightclub. So we have a lot of things we have to deal with on this street. But I just wanted to clarify that
Real
whole
quickly
question of
before you sit down, we were fighting some of the places where junk is in the neighborhood. We were going to court. Remember, we were talking
Yes, sir.
about it.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you give them a report right quick what happened about
well,
the gas station and all the junk cars?
I'll be honest with you. I went down because you called and a couple other people went down to city court. And I know one is, I think, 3190 Hamilton, but there's several properties that are at city court now. I'm just waiting, and I'll let you know, and you can I hope we have a sign-in sheet so we can let everybody here know
That's it.
when to come, because what they do, you know, it's like the Trump factor. Delay, 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 delay. And they hoping we go to sleep, Brother Russian. And when we wake up, it's all over. But I'll keep you up to speed as best I can. I'm talking to folk, and you probably know more than I do, Pastor.
Well, I do know that you went to court with them, and we asked some other people to go down to court to fight the junk cars in the neighborhood, the fence falling all down and things like that, that we don't need that in our community. That's one of the things that a developer is talking about. That's why I keep Hamilton Road clean, as you know. I pick up trash every day. I pay 2 people to pick up trash from to SunTrust Bank all the way to Marta. And they pick up every day. So that's the only reason why Hamilton Road is clean. It's some nasty folk over here. They throw so much trash in the street, but I pick it up. So, with that being said, we got enough junk cars and things, and what we finding out, the people that own these buildings don't live over here. They own the building, they come over here, they put all the junk cars, and you can't get a developer to turn Hamilton Road want to come down here. So we got to start writing the petition and sign up. We want these places cleaned up. I understand some of the laws has changed for us over here now in place against that. So we're going to have to put the pressure on. That's why it's important we get your phone numbers and update us, anything you sign a petition, and they did put that before that judge about a couple of places here, and they table it. So it coming back up to court again. I used to have some very loyal seniors in this neighborhood. It was called Valley something. A lot of them have passed away. You all need to come together and start something up again in the community that have a voice. Now, we need to hear from Marta because this is serious. And I think most of you want to hear from Marta, right? All right, let's bring them up and let them give us a report. I did call the mayor back, and I said, what is going on? I have not heard from Marta. Changes have happened. New people have come in place. I don't know, they stopped calling me. but I do know I started calling back what is going on with the transit system. Something did take place behind my back when I had a meeting with Marta about the transit system, and it happened at another location at the library, and looked like things changed, that it said to them, we don't want the rapid system. Wow. They want the light rail. Was it the light rail? We wanted the light rail, and they met with Marta and said some of the seniors, we don't want it because it's going to tear up the street and lose our homes. That happened behind my back. I sat in that meeting, I just got sick of it and walked out. That was what Marta wanted to hear. But you got 300 and I don't know how many $1 million that's down there. So I let them talk. And but the people that I was working with is no longer in those positions. So I called the mayor again. I said, you made a promise here 4 years ago. You the mayor, and you're gonna make sure all that money come to Campbellton Road that we paid taxes for. The people I was working with no longer in those positions. So we got some new people in position tonight, and we on live Facebook, and we're on live YouTube. Amen? So I'm gonna let them come. I was holding the best for the last. So let's hear from Marta right now. These are people I have not met, I've talked to on the phone. But the people I was working with in Marta, I don't have that connection with them. So thank you. We're not gonna beat up on you.
Oh, no, that's all right. So thank you, Pastor, for having us. I am Stephanie Johnson-Hardy, and I am with the MARTA Team Governmental Affairs team. As I shared with the pastor, we just received this invitation on Thursday. And once I was made aware of it, I called the pastor, I spoke with Sade, and did my very best to get a team here so that we could, of course, come and present to the community. Mr. Greenwood, our CEO, is actually away on travel, so he does send his apologies, but we look forward to work with you. Promoting what? He has been named the permanent CEO, yes, sir, by the board of directors. So he does extend his apologies for not being here. Good to see you, Mr. Ford. But Tracy Robertson, who is the new project manager for this project, will come up and provide you all with some critical updates that I think you'll find beneficial, and certainly we're here to take notes and see what we need to hear and hear from you and get back with you with whatever questions you all may have and concerns, and of course, Sade, I think, has me on speed dial now, and so just rest assured that those concerns and questions will be answered accordingly if we aren't able to answer them this evening. And we do have some of our other MARTA team here as well. So thank you for having us.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am super excited to be here. I know this is a community that loves its community. I am new to this project, but I can guarantee you I am all in with Campbellton Road. Now, you all know this community because most of you probably have lived here for most of your lives. You know this community backwards and forwards. And I'm going to lean on you all to continue to feed information back to MARTA so that we can make this project the best possible project that it can be. I've heard a lot of people talk tonight about just the community and the way it looks. I heard you talk about the alcohol and some of the potholes. I will say this, when this high-capacity new transit comes to this area, it will solve so many of your problems, because when you invest in transit and the infrastructure, transit-oriented development or just economic development in general always follow. So I think we are on the same page. I heard Pastor talk about a different type of mode, and we are going to talk about that here today as well. Now, certainly, we may not be able to answer all of your questions today. Those that we don't have a detailed answer to, we are going to take note, and we are going to get those answers back to you all. I see this as a partnership. For any project that I manage at MARTA, it is critical to me as an individual. It's also critical to MARTA that we have ongoing dialogue. And I understand that it may have been a little bit of gap since MARTA's last visit here with you all, but we're here to solve that today, okay? So going forward, we will be like my coworker Stephanie said, we will be on speed dial. And as my father, my late father would say, you can take that to the bank. So I'm not gonna be with you long. I'm just gonna give you a brief update on where we are with the project. Hopefully, oh, it's on the screen, perfect. So you'll have a visual to go along with me, and I'm gonna give you an update on what we call bus rapid transit, which is planned for this particular corridor. Again, my name is Tracy Roberson. I'm in the MARTA planning department. So my role in this as the project manager during the planning phase is to do just that. Go through the planning phase and hand it off to engineers and the construction department. So we are still in the planning phase, wrapping it up, and I will give you some specifics about that. Next slide. So some of the background I wanted to share with you tonight is what we call the project development process. And the reason I'm sharing this is because so often when I'm working with the community, I hear people say, what's taking so long? We should have had this a long time ago. What's the problem? Is MARTA doing anything? Well, when you understand the project development process, it'll enlighten you on just how long it really takes, and you'll understand that we're doing a lot of things behind the scene, even though you may not see it today in the community. But trust me, we are working. And then I want to share with you a little bit about the federal funding process and the fact that this corridor has gotten the attention of the Federal Transit Administration. In fact, the Federal Transit Administration sent people down here from Washington, D.C. at the end of last summer to ride this corridor and to understand what's happening here, because they are interested in investing in the Atlanta region, and this project is high on their radar. And then I'd like to share with you a little bit about bus rapid transit features, and then I'll let you know where we are in general on moving the project forward. Next slide. Yes, sir. Bus rapid transit, it is a bus, but it is very much like rail. And when I say that, in terms of its effectiveness, being quick, level boarding, just the same way you would get on a train, you're gonna see that this bus rapid transit is very, very similar. Now, that is what the MARTA board approved. Now, if you want me to jump to that part, I will, but I would like to share a little bit about the federal process. And I'm completely flexible. If the federal process is something you guys say, who cares, I can move forward and go straight to the actual project. So I'm gonna let Pastor make that decision.
Move forward.
You wanna go straight?
Well,
All right. Are you interested in hearing about the money part and how that works? Or do we wanna go, show of hands if you want to understand a little bit more about the process? We about half and half, Pastor.
all right, this is what we need to know. Do you want to ask about the transit system that we have originally started with? It's divided. A lot of people saying we're getting fast buses or we're getting the train. And maybe make it very simple. You need to just clear that up, what we're getting.
Okay, no problem. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fast forward to that part. So I'm gonna ask the technology team to just advance until I tell you to stop. Okay, hold right there. Okay, so the decision was made by the MARTA board in July of 2022 after all technical analysis was done, after meeting with the public and doing all the necessary steps as part of that process. The MARTA board did approve for this corridor what we call bus rapid transit. Bus rapid transit is a high-capacity transit option that is very similar to rail. You have to have dedicated lanes, so you're not stuck in traffic. The service is very frequent. The service will come either every 10 minutes or every 15 minutes. All of that is still being worked out. You're gonna have all of these enhanced amenities. This is not a regular bus stop, but you will have actual stations. And I'll get into that a little bit further to give you an idea of what that looks like. It's gonna be fast, a lot faster than the Route 83 that serves the corridor now, because there will be limited stops. You won't stop every, eighth of a mile, but they'll be spread out a little bit further, so you'll get to your next destination a lot faster. So if you board at Barge Road and you want to go to Oakland City train station, you're gonna get there faster than you would on Route 83. This particular corridor is just to cover Oakland City to Barge Road. There are other MARTA projects that would collaborate and actually have access to the airport, but this particular one does not. The current MARTA rail system does access and cover the airport.
That's what. Rapid train system to the airport. Trying to find out what's going on.
I'll be completely honest, this bus rapid transit will bring a whole lot more business to Campbellton Road. And let me explain a little bit by what I mean. When you invest in bus rapid transit and you have to change your infrastructure, and because we're going through this process with the Federal Transit Administration, before we can even get funding from them to allocate towards the project, the whole corridor has to do what we call transit supportive land use and zoning, which is going to address some of the current issues that you have here in the corridor. So we are working very closely and diligently right now with the City of Atlanta. They have a redevelopment committee. We are going through the process, that Federal Transit Administration funding process. We have to document every single land use and zoning that you have here and what planned for the future so that the federal government can evaluate that. And once they see that there's a commitment from the city of Atlanta, from the local municipalities, that you want BRT, you want the faster service, you're gonna invest in the infrastructure, then they are willing to pour the money into this corridor. And when that happens, the developers usually really follow. Now, I can't explain that to a T, but our transit-oriented development, we call TOD, that department could come back and share more of that in detail. But the investment for Campbellton Road specifically is to go from Oakland City to Barge Road.
Come to the mic, when you come to the mic,
Tomorrow, community activist for seniors. What's gonna happen to the bike lanes? And is this, you're saying that this bus or rapid rail will have its own lane? Okay, if it has its own lane, and mind you, we've just become a city with a bicycle professional group, which all the children gonna be trying to ride bikes at this point too. So now what's gonna happen to the bike lanes that we already have or don't have on Hamilton Road from Oakland City down to, and we won't say Barge Road because Barge Road has to be picked up at 166.
Okay, I'm so glad you asked. Technology, can you advance to the next slide? Okay, so this rapid service will be 100% dedicated, center running, exclusive lanes. There will be no cars in the lanes. We will have signal priority, so we will not be stopping at any lights. And like I said, it is faster service than the local. Next slide, please. And to your point, you will see on this particular slide, the whole idea around creating a better infrastructure. You will have the bike lanes throughout this entire 6-mile corridor. You will have pedestrian facilities. You will have wider sidewalks. The idea behind this bus rapid transit is to create what we call a gold standard BRT. And so there'll be lots of amenities. You will have better lighting. You will have places to sit. You will be able to get your MARTA Breeze cards. You will have full-on stations, and the bike lanes, as you have mentioned, ma'am, will be throughout the entirety of the bus rapid transit network. Next slide. So I do want to say the original LPA stands for Locally Preferred Alternative. MARTA did approve it in July of 2022. And what that was, originally, it was 92% dedicated lanes. The only portion that was in mixed traffic with cars was on Barge Road to get to the Barge Road parking ride. Fast forward to August of 2023, after bringing some of the local elected officials out to ride the corridor and look further into what we were doing, the idea of trying to make this 100% exclusive dedicated lanes began to be part of the conversation. And we went back and we looked at some technical analysis. And so what we came up with, from Greenbrier to Barge Road, we will create what's called a flyover. That's just a couple of bridges and ramps so that now the bus rapid service will not have to intermingle with local traffic at all. From Barge Road, it will be a direct connection from Greenbrier Mall. It'll be bridges and ramps, and it'll drop you right down into Barge Road. So right now, we are at what we call 30% design on that original locally preferred alternative from Oakland City up to Greenbrier. And we are just now beginning the engineering work around the flyover piece. So I do want to say, again, I mentioned earlier, FTA is interested in this corridor and investing in this corridor, and therefore, last year, they did give us $8.1 million toward developing and planning out the Campbellton Road rapid service. The other thing we're looking at in this corridor is creating a transit hub at the Greenbrier Mall. And we are just going through that process to identify where that would be. And that's an opportunity to have a huge hub where all the buses within the MARTA network will transfer at that site. Sure, no problem. The current schedule, we're looking at 2026 to start, late 2026 on the start of the construction, and late 2028 for start of service. That would be the portion from Oakland City up to Greenbrier. Again, the piece that's the flyover, we are just now starting to really get into the engineering on that. That may be a couple years added on to finalize that part. And in terms of the cost, right now, our cost estimate for this is right at that $300 million threshold. And that really gives us that opportunity to beef up the infrastructure and really making the bike lanes great, the sidewalks and all of the lighting. And all of those things were added, as well as the hub was added as part of that $300 million investment in the corridor. And, you know, with projects, that price may go up, it may go down. In this economy, you know, it's likely to go up. It ain't going down, it's going up. But we do want to keep it within that $400 million or less threshold because of that federal funding process. We're in that category of what we call small starts, and if the project goes over 400 million, it'll put us in a completely different category, which is way more competitive, and BRTs or bus rapid transit projects usually don't score well with FTA in those projects. Now, in terms of the cost, the schedule, all of these things, these are the things that will be coming back to you on a regular basis to share. Some of this sharing may be in person. Some of it can be sharing information with the pastor and senior staff to just give quick nuggets at future meetings. We're going through the process right now of creating that public involvement plan to make sure the rest of this year and the rest of this project, we are here to communicate. And most of the folks in our audience is part of the external affairs and the public engagement group, and that's why they're here tonight to support, to understand how to better engage. Absolutely. Does anyone from the Public Outreach External Affairs group want to address that?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. So I'm Ian Cara. I'm Director of Public Engagement for MARTA, a little bit newer to the role and this project as well. But across all of our projects, our strategy is going to be to create those regular moments to come out and update the public. So whether that's quarterly or I think the suggestion was biannually, at least quarterly, in some regular fashion, whether that's coming out to the NPU, or having our standalone meetings, we want to give you those updates. Even if we're working behind the scenes on technical pieces or advancing the environmental review, things that aren't very public facing, we still want to keep you updated on those pieces. So the other piece of the strategy is besides holding our own meetings is to come out to where the community gets information. So I want to hear from the folks in this room. We know that Pastor Fleming and the church are one of the key ways along the corridor to get information out, but we want to hear how else we can reach you, reach the folks that you are friends and family with, and different ways of getting information to you. So we heard some virtual stuff that doesn't reach everyone. So we need some print material, we need to be out in person. But absolutely through this, the rest of this funding process, which we want to take you along the rest of the design process, and then to the point where we get to construction where you can actually see and feel the benefits of the bus rapid transit, we want to take you along as well. And I will mention, bus rapid transit did not exist in the Atlanta region before this year. We are under construction at MARTA on our first BRT project on Summerhill. So you'll see the work happening on Hank Aaron. You may see some of the development that's popping up along that corridor, which is happening in concert. That's some of the transit-oriented development that Tracy was referring to. So it's coming, but it is new, and the features are new, so it's hard to really see until you see it in person. So like she mentioned, it's a high-capacity transit mode that means you're getting to where you need to go faster, more frequently, and more reliably, and it complements the local bus service. And I just want to add in that the route that was planned previously for light rail transit, that route is the same as was mentioned, the Greenbrier Mall to Oakland City. So you're now getting from Barge Road to Oakland City. Airport was not in the picture with previous routes, so it's the same route and the same features getting you connected to the rail network quickly. So I will leave my contact information, and we want to hear those ways that you get information, the important meetings in the community. We have the NPU folks here, so we're going to stay connected moving forward.
Learners, and it sounds good, it's really pretty, but you didn't bring us any copies to have, no flyers at all. Can we get this on the internet or a copy of this? But I go back to, can you put a model here in this church if Pastor Fleming don't care for show, and put one at Greenbrier for show also, so people can say, oh, this is what's happening in our neighborhood. And because we just, I don't want to come down the street and I get hit by a bus that's not stopping. You see what I'm saying?
followed you until the very last part. But yes, I can preview that we are putting together some video resources around what the bus rapid transit will look like specifically to this corridor. We do have interactive tables so that you can slide up and down the corridor, and it's not quite ready to roll out, but when that is available, we'll bring the road show to y'all.
I'll just make it quick. I was just gonna say, is there a possibility that we can request like a comprehensive engagement plan from MARTA that kind of incorporates all of these pieces? Because I think what's happening, you're leaving it to the community to make that decision, and and there's so much that is happening, as you can just see, just the topics that we're talking about. So is it okay? Is it appropriate for us to request a comprehensive engagement plan that incorporates this? And so, like, if it is putting the models up in the a full-blown plan, meetings sequence, if it's in person, if it's not in person, what are the virtual options like? Is there a live piece where if community members, if we're not at a meeting, they can still go to a link or to a main page, a sub page to provide input? That, I think that will be good, because we're, again, if it's not by request, we're not getting the information. So that's just the one request.
Absolutely.
I think would be good.
I am hearing the need for the proactive opportunities to get project updates and to provide feedback on the process. So we can absolutely provide an engagement plan. The reflection back to the community was an invitation to provide some of those forums that we may not be thinking of, but we want to provide, like I mentioned, the opportunities where folks can come to a MARTA event, but more importantly, we want to go to where folks are getting information. So we want to go out to school events. We want to go out to the faith community. We want to integrate into the community rather than ask you to come to our meeting all the time. We want to provide you, updates, like was mentioned, in written format, shorter, just to keep you updated on where we're at. Create the in-person moments where we can show you the visuals of what it's going to look like. And then, the Summerhill BRT is under construction.
Let me interrupt.
Why
you
not?
one
Why
moment.
not take a trip
Excuse me
over
for
there and
interrupting.
see it when it's open? Like,
Let me interrupt. Is there a way that persons here tonight, that you get their email, that you can provide this information to them through their email?
yes. So you had the sign-in sheet. If it's possible to share the contact on the sign-up sheet, we can create or add those names to a Campbellton Corridor newsletter, so that you can get regular updates that aren't coming out to the meeting, but we'll get you the informational updates in between the times that we are out at a meeting.
That's probably one of the best things they can do. We get your email tonight and request that you be notified about the updates. And she can have you sign that, and you all take that back and let them know through email. Now, something's going on now we used to have. We can Zoom now. And that is very helpful, that if they got your information and they let you know this is when we're going to have a Zoom meeting, that a lot of you in the community can Zoom in and really hear it without a lot of other meetings we've been having openly. Can they provide that? Oh, great.
I know, just to get back on a different topic, I know a lot of members in the community, especially our elderly, have owned their homes for many, many, many years, are concerned about eminent domain, or you're taking up our land, how are you gonna pay us? I think you need to address that to help with some of the fears of what's gonna happen.
So thank you for bringing that up. That is definitely a very detailed conversation. We're working now that we are approaching that 30% design. We are working to see what that looks like in terms of right-of-way. And I can assure you that we're doing everything we can to make sure we don't have any full takes along the way. Our engineers are being very strategic about that. Of course, there will be some, just along this corridor, there are some pinch points, but for the most part, we're doing minimal taking. That is one of the reasons why we did not want to interrupt the residents on Barge Road and decided to go with the direct flyover, because we're trying to be as sensitive as we can to right-of-way impacts. And thank you for sharing. We're taking notes on this. Maybe our next meeting, we can get more into the details of the right-of-way, and we can have somebody from our engineering team come and explain exactly what that looks like.
And Tracy, does the center running help with any of that? Minimizing it?
Yes, it does. We'll be center running, but, you know, it still will be some impacts, especially those areas where you have, the listening. I don't have that information right with me today, but I will definitely get back with you guys with that information. Yes, we'll give you a whole detailed right-of-way report, and that'll be included in that.
Some of you, I know you're seniors and you're leaving. If you want to come back in September, near 3 or 4 months from now for another meeting, you can make that decision now, then we can pinpoint. That will give you no time. So let me see your hand show. I'll come back in September, fall. Okay? Sooner? What's sooner? What you want? When you want to come back? Summer? June? June. All right. Come, let them hear you. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Brenda, and I've been a resident for several years. And Campbellton Road, that's my family. Kids grew up, grandchildren. So it's been a life for us since I came to Atlanta. My concern is, and some other people, talk about this bus rapid transit. When you go down Campbellton Road, parts of it is wide, parts are really narrow. Right before you get to Oakland City Station, it's really narrow. I want to know, how are you going to make the sidewalks and the lights and the room for a big train and cars when it's really, really narrow? It looks and seems impossible. I go to the train station and I said, how are they going to do this? Sidewalks are narrow, and I see people remodeling their homes, renovating their homes, getting the lawns all spruced up, putting out plants, so it's beginning to look good going to Oakland City. But how in the world would you get a train, a rapid transit? How's that possible? Are you going to go over? Are you going to cut people's lawns back? How can you create a wider sidewalk when it's a little sidewalk now because the houses are so close to the street? It just seems impossible. And I often wonder, how's that going to happen? How do you make that happen? It's not just me, it's other people too wondering, is that possible? Or is there something else bigger going on? Are these people getting their homes fixed up because you're going to buy the homes to widen the street and make bigger sidewalks? Have you thought about that part of it?
Okay, let me help you out. Those are questions that we need to have the engineers.
Pardon me?
The engineers to come to the next meeting and explain. Those are questions we need the engineers.
But does that make sense, though? My question, my thoughts, my concerns, it seems legitimate to me.
Let me say this to you as you leave. I don't want to offend you. We either want to grow or stay still. And we're going to have to make a decision. It's not our generation, basically. It's for another generation how we want the development on Campbellton Road. And we've had our day with Campbellton Road. Now I think about my children's children and what's going to happen if Campbellton Road go down. So it's going to be a sacrifice. A lady asked me once, she said, what if they take your church? I said, if they're going to build me a new one, I will.
Okay.
The point is, I either want to change or I want to stay where I am. We can't have it all. So I do think the engineers can come and explain, because a lot of people, that's why Marta was slowing down, met up there at that library saying, we don't want it because we don't want to lose our homes. So it's two ways that we got to look at it, growth or stagnant. And we're going to have to give a little, and I think that question should be answered by the engineer. That's the best way we can see it.
Okay, thank you.
If they're going to pay you enough, or you'll give me enough money, that's all that matters. And that's a new home.
One of the issues is we just don't know.
Yeah.
We've got to have information, pinch points, right away. You're going to have to take Miss Johnson's driveway, or you're going to have to take Mr. Smith's house. See, we need that kind of information because some of the concerns and fears may be unwarranted. Some, but we know that something's going to happen. The way you deal with it is what? Get as much information to as many people as possible. The only other thing I want to say is I have had the opportunity to ride a BRT, and it's probably one of, if not the best BRT in the country. That's in Hartford, Connecticut, from a little town called New Britain all the way to Hartford. And I've ridden it many times, back and forth. And the dedicated lanes, that's, you can say dedicated, but dedicated lanes in that scenario that I'm talking about were barricaded lanes. See, the thing that I'm concerned about is that I see you got painted lanes here. Y'all been on Capitol Road lately? See them Chargers and what they call it, Challengers, going up and down Capitol Road? Do you really think those folk gonna stay out that painted lane?
Duly noted.
I've made it very clear what my preference was. I wanted light rail, but if you're gonna do BRT, do it right. Dedicated, barricaded lanes, synchronized lights on all of that, but painted lanes, that's gonna be dangerous, number one. I don't know if it's gonna work, number two. You know, I know there are 3 levels of BRT, A, B, and C. This looked like C. What I'm talking about in Connecticut was a B, AB level. And I would suggest everybody do their Google search on BRT and the levels of the BRT. So the dedicated lanes is, I think, an absolute critical part to a successful. If we're going to do it, let it be the most successful BRT in the world. I don't see this happening.
All right, thank you. All right, 3 questions really quickly. I haven't heard you talk about any accommodations for seniors, those that are physically challenged, and what type of investments will businesses have, because we're talking bringing money to the community. When I drive down the road, some of these businesses I personally don't want to stop at just for the outside visual appearance. Then next, why can't we get an airport connection? For me, that is going to save me time. That is going to make me want to use it versus getting in my car, because I personally don't like going down to the Oakland MARTA train station because it's congested. Once you actually get on, yeah, I'm done.
That was a lot of questions.
He said I was running out of time.
I know.
Man one, answer about the airport, I mean. 'Cause that's where your money comes. That's where you develop.
As it relates to the airport connection, that's something
Can
that-
we consider it? I know it's not considered now. Can we throw that back into the hat?
For this particular project, it's not under consideration, but the fact that you want airport connectivity, that's something we can take back to MARTA at large and start thinking about how we can solve that problem. It may not be solved with this specific project, but as MARTA continues to grow and expand and develop additional projects, that's something that the infrastructure team can start to look at.
Gotta blow it up.
Okay?
So not necessarily with this specific BRT, but it could be possible with future expansion, and that's something we can take a look at.
Accommodations for seniors and physically challenged.
So accommodations for physically challenged and ADA accessibility, that's just part of the MARTA standard. Anything that we do, we have to consider that. So the stations will definitely prioritize safety, ADA accessibility, and all of that. And you want to add something to that, Ian?
I just wanted to add that the stations are built up. So the stations themselves will be ADA accessible, and then the bus will approach the station, and it has rub rails on the side. So if it comes up and approaches, arrives flush with the station. So, and Tracy mentioned the level boarding, so that accommodates the ADA accessibility as well. So it should all be accessible, level boarding, and easy to access.
Now, again, when we talk about money, we didn't talk about that investment, what that investment looks like to the community. So I get maybe putting the lanes and shelter for people to sit. However, again, what's that gonna do for the businesses? Are they able to get any of those funds to improve the looks of their businesses in some type of grant?
For that question, that we can include that in our next discussion, and we can have someone from our real estate and transit-oriented development group that is specifically related to economic development. They can further answer that question and really give you a detailed answer. If we can pin that as part of an upcoming conversation, maybe we can do right-of-way and economic development at the next meeting.
Because we have to consider, these are federal dollars, and so, as Tracy mentioned, we have to get with the specific departments to truly understand what that looks like. And Senator Ford, to your question regarding with the two lines, this is a partnership with the city of Atlanta. And that's why it is important we have our mayor on board, we have our city council on board, that we are lock and step with APD, with the other community partners to ensure, as those chargers are zooming down Camilton Road, that hopefully we will have the support that we need from the city. And that is, I think, as a community, absolutely. Actually, the pastor sent it to me last week, yes.
Facebook.
And who communicated that?
I do. We record. You can go on and look at it. Page of Francis pop up on you. Everything that happened, about 2 hours long. Everything council asked it, Hammer was whole council. That's why I put it back out, so you can look at it. Go and look at what happened here. Promises that were made. I'm glad we taped it. Hacked it, the city. Well, we already had it. Like tonight, if they hack anything, they won't be able to hack this. I'll be able to put this back out. They'll look at it. So it's already out. 3 years ago, you see the mayor standing there. That's the one that happened here at the meeting.
In the sanctuary.
Yeah, in the
Yes, sir.
sanctuary.
Okay.
We're hoping by June, might be back in our sanctuary, but that's why we can still meet here. Want to come back in June, let me know. All right, so let's stay on this now, because we missed.
Absolutely. And our team is committed to get you. We have been taking very detailed notes and to get some of the things that you all want, done that we can answer in the immediate time before June. Again, just to show and reflect our commitment to the community and staying in contact and staying, as you know, again, I've shared with the pastor, I've been here 3 weeks, but just being a native Atlantan and being in this city, I served the city of Atlanta for over 15 years at City Hall. I know that MARTA has been through a lot the last several years, and I'm not justifying if there's been some silence, but just asking for some grace and understanding, because from a leadership perspective, they've faced a lot of challenges, a lot, with a number of things that have gone on personally and as an agency and as an authority. But again, our team is committed to being in contact. We had a call today, and I said that I would be your point of contact, Reverend Fleming, so that you know that, again, if there's something that needs to be answered, that we are here, okay? Did you have one last question?
Yes, and really concerns for the community, what they're really asking. So for one, the pictures, we were really comparing ourselves with Clifton Corridor in the 2 years. And when I did attend the Clifton Corridor meeting, Clifton was offered real life pictures of what bus rapid transit looks like and what light rail looked like. So we've only been getting animation pictures, and I do think it's unfair to our community because the Clifton Corridor community has more people that are educated compared to this community. And we do need something that will show everybody step
it
by
actually
step
looks like.
instead of
Okay.
telling people to
And-
Google it, do research.
Well,
It's-
that was a suggestion, I think, from others, but we have written down that we will provide a timeline of what it looks like. We've heard that you all asking for essentially models of what it looks like, and I don't think, I'm not a graphic artist, but I don't think that would be a challenge.
It's already there.
Absolutely.
It's there. These are the same pictures that we've been shown for the last 2 years.
Absolutely. So I definitely, we have that. We will make sure that we make note of that. And then again, once we establish collectively.
It's the same things that they've been putting in the brochures
When the
that's
next
been
meeting will
passed out
be,
to us.
so that
And
we
then
can have all of our
lastly-
engineers and the right folks at the table as well.
In the last 2 years, what improvement have you all, I know you,
The newest improvement is that they're about to build bridges going over 285, and it would have been nice to know that this decision was made 7-8 months ago. And I've been following this since the beginning and advocating on everything, and it's just so sad how this community compared to the other community, I called it out when it was the yard signs. Ours were black, theirs was white. I called out a lot, and it's so sad to see that we're about to get a new enhancement, and you guys are questioning the Greenbrier Mall being a hub. That's a big concern because, yes, Barge Road is very tight, and that was something that was a big concern of mine because there's a new investment of YWCA getting a building, and they're saying that that's going to help the MARTA investment. That's what the city wrote in a press release. And we talked about Summerhill today. Summerhill got about $100 million from Goldman Sachs. Are we gonna get some type of investments like that? Are we gonna look into trying to get us investments from big things? Because when I was asking, could we apply for grants with the MARTA team, they were telling me, oh, no, we can't apply for this grant because if we apply for the grant, it's gonna take us X amount of dollars to even look into it. It just, the he say, she say, the pull, the nudge, the community asks, but it's always a rebuttal. There's always, well, we can't really do that. We're doing X, Y, Z. You guys are already getting. this amount, and even compared to Clifton, and I hate to compare us, their project is double our cost, and we talk about equity. And this is not an equitable project for us. We're just getting equally what the same is for Clifton. But I have been told that even though we start with bus rapid transit in the future, for the future generations, we can turn it into light rail.
And again, that takes vision, that takes time,
Optimism.
to go beyond that, exactly. And so what I can say is that this team that is here, that we have shown up, and again, we just received notice on Thursday, I think it is reflective of our commitment to the community and to the corridor, and doing our part to continue to work with you all and answer some of these hard questions. So,
I think to clear that up, about Thursday,
Yes, sir.
we have been calling the assistant, a person from MARTA, I don't want to call her name, for 3 weeks. And the mayor, when I called, I texted the mayor and his chief of staff, he sent me the name of, yes, Odie. But the person that he sent me, she called me, my assistant, I was sitting here, we've called her 9 times, no response. So we got no response from that person, and I just called and said, we finna have this meeting, and that's when you all showed up. Because that person never responded. She called me, and I spoke. I said, who are you? She said, I'm with Marta. And my secretary is not here. She can give her name. We called her. I called her to inform her about this meeting. And I got tired of not hearing anything, so I went back to the mayor. Then you all showed up.
and I will email you all
We'll
the
come back
PowerPoint.
in June. What day in June? All right, now make sure you all got your email if we decide to get with them to Zoom. You've done an excellent job, Dalen, both of you tonight. We were really impressed with your presentation tonight. I'm very much more impressed with you. Okay? It's for coming on. You're just coming along. So I think if you come back, you'll be a little bit more informative as what we want. Okay? Everybody, give your email. If we decide to Zoom, and I talked to Martin and asked him, can the community get a part of your Zoom? You'll be able to participate much more than waiting for meetings. So you'll be prepared for when we come. Now, what we coming in June, Doc? When will we come in June? What's your opinion? What's your suggestion? The second Tuesday in June. Write it down. June 11th. We'll come back with another report from Marta, and hope this time the police department will be here, and the mayor, chief of staff, or somebody will be here with us to help answer some more questions. Now, they don't have no excuses. We know ahead of time. June the 11th, we will come back in this particular building, okay? Thank you. Let us all stand. Let us pray out. Eternal God, we thank you for our citizens who come tonight to show their interest, that we are concerned about our future. We're concerned that we be counted and not counted out. We are concerned, eternal God, that you give us the wisdom to cooperate, ask our questions, and show our concern. But we are concerned about our future and our future generation. Thank you for this meeting tonight. It's been informative. It has settled a lot of problems, but not all. But we'll get to it, and we know with your guidance somehow. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.